When you need to store simple user preferences in iOS, UserDefaults is the accepted starting point. It's fast to set up and perfectly contained. It's the ideal tool for saving local states, things like whether a user prefers dark mode or internal feature flags toggling a new layout. But as your application matures, you'll likely want to expand beyond the main app icon. You'll want to build home screen widgets or an Apple Watch companion app. This chart maps where the friction hits. The y-axis is data complexity, and the x-axis is app ecosystem size. Standard user defaults sits in the single app low complexity quadrant. Scale horizontally to support a multi-extension ecosystem, and it violently hits a wall. You'll write the code to read a saved theme setting from a new widget, hit run, and realize your widget has absolutely no idea that data exists. Basic storage tools work flawlessly in isolation. They break the moment your product outgrows a single target boundary. The technical reality of that widget read attempt is a crash or a fallback, because the system returns a harsh nil, no data found. The main app operates inside the strict iOS security sandbox, represented by a fortified circle. Your user defaults data is locked securely inside. A home screen widget is treated as a separate process. When it reaches in for saved preferences, the sandbox completely deflects the request. To bridge this gap, you have to completely refactor how and where you save your user preferences. iOS prioritizes strict security isolation over developer convenience. Cross-target data sharing is a deliberate architectural hurdle you have to plan for. Let's evaluate UserDefaults.standard strictly on its own merits. It is a true zero configuration option for immediate local storage. This table compares the two storage architectures side by side. On the left, we have the standard implementation, and on the right, the custom suite. Looking at the configuration row, the standard option is entirely frictionless. Simply calling UserDefaults.standard instantly writes data directly into the primary app's restricted sandbox. There are no boxes to check in Xcode, no developer portal menus to navigate. But down in the interoperability row, its capability drops to 0. That data is permanently isolated. The ideal payload here is internal state data. Think of tracking whether a user has seen a specific onboarding screen, information that never needs to leave the main app. It keeps local variables perfectly synced within the main app's lifecycle, requiring absolutely zero developer overhead. Standard user defaults offers fast setup. The trade-off is permanently locking that data away from any future secondary targets. The alternative architecture is instantiating a custom suite. You do this by utilizing iOS app groups to create a shared environment. Looking back at our table, under Configuration on the right side, the custom suite requires specific entitlements. This requires upfront friction. You have to navigate the Apple developer portal, manage provisioning profiles, and carefully configure matching bundle identifiers. The reward for that effort is that iOS provisions a completely separate shared storage container that exists outside your main app's strict sandbox. In the interoperability row, we now have a verified data bridge connecting your phone app and your widget. Both the main app and the app extension can simultaneously read and write to the exact same preference file without being blocked by the system. This is built for payloads like shared login tokens or specific layout preferences that your home screen widget needs to render correctly. Custom suites deliberately trade upfront configuration time for long-term architectural scalability and ecosystem synchronization. The definitive rule of thumb here is that your product roadmap, not personal preference, must dictate your storage architecture. This decision tree maps out the correct path. It starts with one question. Does your roadmap include widgets, watch apps, or extensions? If you are building a single target app, branching down to no leads you straight to UserDefaults.standard. If your data only matters while the main app is open on the screen, stick to the standard implementation. Over-engineering a custom suite for an app with no planned extensions is a pure waste of development time. However, if you are building a multi-target ecosystem, the path moves laterally to yes, requiring app groups and points directly to the custom suite. If your app relies on widgets or watch connectivity to deliver its core value, the standard approach is a dead end. Invest the initial 20 minutes to configure app groups and implement the custom suite on day one. Doing this early saves you the massive headache of writing complex, error-prone data migration scripts months later when you finally add that widget. By evaluating your app's ecosystem scope on day one, you invest the exact right amount of architectural effort for your specific scaling needs.